If your business is heading for insolvency, you've probably heard countless scary myths. Maybe you've been told you'll lose your home, you'll never run a company again, or you'll be personally bankrupted. But what if I told you everything you've heard is bollocks? Thousands of UK directors just like you are confused, worried and stressed about insolvency, and it's often due to misinformation and Dave down the pub telling you what happened to his mate. Now today we're going to clearly separate the fact from the fiction, and we're going to clarify exactly what happens and ensure you're informed about what your real options are. Now in this video, I'm going to debunk every common insolvency myth that directors face. I'll clearly explain exactly what's true and what's false, and exactly what you must do immediately to protect your finances, your reputation, and your future. So, myth number one, I will lose my home and personal assets in a company insolvency. Here's the reality. Personal assets like homes, cars, personal savings are generally protected during insolvency, unless you sign a personal guarantee or you have an overdrawn loan account. I'll explain those two very quickly. Personal guarantee is you have guaranteed to pay personally a debt or a supplier should the business fail and end up in default. Even in personal guarantees, you'll be able to restructure with the lender and pay them back either over a longer period of time, or in some cases, you will be able to pay them a lump sum as full and final. I've done a podcast with Gary Whitehead on the Director First show. Go and watch that after this video, okay? Another issue where you could lose your assets is overdrawn loan accounts. That is where you owe the company money. Some directors know about it, some directors don't. But when you go into insolvency, the insolvency practitioner is duty bound to recover that money from you. And in the worst case scenarios is if you don't pay it back and don't do a settlement, you can be made bankrupt. But they're quite severe circumstances, both of them. It's highly likely you're not going to lose your house in insolvency, okay? Myth number two, I will be banned from being a director again. The truth is, director disqualification is not automatic, okay? Now, disqualification occurs if you've been involved in serious wrongdoing. That can be fraudulent activity, serious misconduct. Most directors facing insolvency can become directors again legally and transparently. I'll tell you where people are getting disqualified at the moment in whatever this is going out, August 2025. Bounce back loan fraud, furlough fraud. So like bounce back loans where you've took too much. You were only allowed to take 25% of your turnover in 2019. So if you turned over 30 grand in 2019 and took a 50 grand bounce back loan, you are more than likely going to get disqualified, okay? If you took two bounce back loans because you're only allowed one, you're going to get disqualified, highly likely. If your company was dormant when you took the bounce back loan, you're highly likely going to get disqualified, okay? So, but in I used to say 99% of cases, 95% of cases that I deal with, directors don't get disqualified. And if we have a chat with you, there's no one who can guarantee you won't be disqualified, because it's actually based on a director's conduct report that goes from the insolvency practitioner to the insolvency service. But most people who pick the phone up to me do not receive disqualification. They can be the director of as many companies as they want, as long as they keep up in line with their fiduciary duties, okay? Myth number three, I will be personally bankrupted if my company becomes insolvent. The myth causes unnecessary stress, okay? Company insolvency clearly does not automatically make you bankrupt, okay? Personal bankruptcy only occurs if you are personally insolvent, i.e. you can't afford to pay your debts when they fall due. Now, there are some issues from a company insolvency that can trickle over to your personal area. So let's talk about, again, personal guarantees. If you've signed a PG, you go through insolvency, you don't deal with a PG, you essentially bury your head in the sand and you give them the two fingers, well, that financial institution or supplier will ultimately take legal action against you, and that's where they could make you personally bankrupt. But it doesn't happen very often, okay? Another scenario where you could be made bankrupt is if you've got an overdrawn director's loan account, the insolvency practitioner asks you to repay that director's loan account, and again, you bury the head in the sands and you force the insolvency practitioner to take legal action against you. And even that's very rare. It's only with directors who have lots of equity, lots of savings, where an insolvency practitioner will go down the bankruptcy route. Because for most people out there that might have a house with a mortgage, with a little bit of equity, a little bit of credit card debt, the partner owns half the house, a bankruptcy is expensive, and in most cases, it doesn't result in a better return to creditors. Therefore, it's unlikely to happen, okay? Myth number 4, my credit rating will be personally destroyed. While insolvency affects the credit rating of the company, okay, it doesn't affect your credit rating of the person. They're separate. The two, there's limited liability companies that I can have Chris Worden Limited, and if I put Chris Worden Limited through an insolvency process sounded very posh then, through an insolvency process, it doesn't affect Chris Worden, okay, unless Chris Worden has signed personal guarantees, unless Chris Worden doesn't pay his self-assessment bills, okay? So my credit score will not show that I have liquidated a business. It will not appear on my Experian. It will not appear on my Clear score. It will not appear on my Equifax, okay? It's a myth. Myth number 5. I can avoid insolvency by dissolving my company myself. Okay. Sort of a, listen, if you took a bounce back loan, you can't dissolve a company, right? If you owe lots of suppliers, HMRC, tens of thousands of pounds, you're not going to be able to dissolve a company. And this is sort of a myth that generally Dave down the pub peddles. He could do with a slap round the head, Dave. He honestly causes a lot of problems. And it's basically saying, listen, mate, my pal has dissolved this company. He's walked away from hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of debt. When you try and dissolve a company with debt, generally HMRC, the banks, people that you owe money to, they'll have a marker on your company and they'll see that you're trying to dissolve the company and walk away and avoid an insolvency process, and they'll object to it, okay? Now, there are certain times where you can try this. Let's say your business has not got a pot to what in, or a window to throw it out. It's stopped trading, it's deregistered for VAT, it's not trading for 3 months, it has no cash, no assets, and say you owe the HMRC 10, 15, 20 grand, right? Insolvency is going to cost you at least 5 grand plus VAT, and some directors do not have that type of money. So what I suggest that they do is write to HMRC and other suppliers that they might owe money to and sort of put the position and say, listen, I've not got the cost to liquidate, I've got no money in the bank, I've got no assets to realise, I'm going to try and strike the company's house via a dissolution, but guess what? If you want to pay to liquidate me, be my guest, okay? And in a lot of circumstances, when the debt levels are fairly low, your creditors allow you to strike the company off. They can reinstate it at any point in the next 20 years, certainly the HMRC can. But the view they've got to take is, well, this company has nothing, so why am I going to spend money winding this company up for no benefit, okay? Myth number 6, insolvency means I failed permanently in business. Listen, here's the truth. Insolvency does not equate to failure. Listen, many successful business people have faced insolvency, and they've rebuilt their careers afterwards. Listen, I did. I remember when I had to place a business into insolvency. It was a real dark time. I thought I'd failed. I thought everyone was laughing at me. In fact, people might have been laughing at me. I don't really care today. Because out of that negative scenario, I have built the #1 insolvency advisory business for directors in the UK. There's a saying, in every seed, in every adversity, this is the quote, every adversity there is the seed of an equal or greater benefit. And that was really true for me. So insolvency is a tool that you can use as a director. That's it. It's a business decision. It's legal, it's transparent, and it allows you to clear some debts, take responsibility, and then you can start again. Myth number 7. My bounce back loan default means clearly I'm a fraudster. Oh my God. This is a biggie, right? Right, defaulting on your bounce back loan doesn't automatically make you a fraudster, right? A bounce back loan fraudster is someone who took a loan who shouldn't have took one, spent the loan on stuff that they shouldn't have spent it on, took more than one loan in one company or inflated their turnover. And there are millions of them that are in default. Now, if you are in default because you clearly can't pay that money back, it just means you are a victim of COVID, a victim of changing markets, a victim of the cost of living crisis. It's a bloodbath out there. Now, what you've got to do is transparently communicate with the lender. You'll be able to get a deal done. They're not going to start action against you as long as you talk to them. Pay what you can, if you can, when you can. Pick the phone up. And the idea that you've committed fraud just because you've not paid it back when you was meant to pay it back, take that out of your head and put it in the bin, okay? Now, I want to sort of go on to things that you should do to avoid mistakes, right? Because a lot of problems in insolvency arise because the director doesn't know what they're doing, or they listen to Dave the dickhead in the pub and it causes them problems. Listen, number 1, if anything I've said to you today, anything at all's resonated, go at the top of the comment, the description below, and click my free assessment, and we'll help you. Free, independent, impartial, no strings, no obligation. Take insolvency advice early. That is your strongest protection, okay? Now, I also want you to communicate promptly with creditors and lenders. So if you're going to struggle paying HMRC, let them know. If you can't pay your bounce back loan, let the bank know. Document all your financial records and transactions, okay? And document your decision making. If you're starting to struggle to pay people, it's a sign of insolvency. So have regular board meetings, even if it's just you yourself. I don't know about you, I talk to myself all the time, but it's just a case of emailing from me to me why I'm about to do this. And again, if you're speaking to an insolvency professional, they'll guide you how those emails should look and sound. Dead important that you understand your exact financial position, right? Not worse than it is, not better than it is, what it is. So pull off your aged creditors. Who do you owe money to? If you don't have a report to do that, phone up everyone you owe money and ask for a statement. What have you got going out of it? So that's what you got going out of the business. What you got coming in? You know, who owes you money? Who's overdue paying you? What does your work in progress look like? Okay? You've got to see things as they are, not worse than they are. Now, you've got 2 choices right now. Do nothing. If you do nothing, it's going to cause you stress. I did nothing, and as I'm falling asleep at night and I'm tired, I'm just about to hit the pillow, and then ding, 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 my head would go off like a pinball machine because it's unfinished business. And I don't know about you, I'm not good with unfinished business. Or you act immediately and responsibly. Get some professional help. The earlier you speak to someone like me, the more options that you've got, okay? Now, Director First is here to support you. Subscribe. We have lots of ongoing, transparent, practical insolvency advice. Now, if you want to have a look at some more of our content, the next video I'm going to pop, you're going to love, click there.